Hello and welcome to another Blender Know-How tutorial. Today we are going to learn how to create a realistic glow, and this isn't going to be your normal just put a blur on an object or in the compositor or something like that. In fact, something uh, this kind of a glow can't really be achieved in just the material editor that you see over here on the right hand side. So we have to composite still. Uh, so, but it's going to be only applied to this material. So it's almost as if we are still applying it to only the material. And we're just going to create a mask using the material, and then go from there. So I'll have to show you how you do it. You might be a little confused. So go ahead and open Blender. Get past the splash screen. Delete the cube. I'm going to add a UV sphere, and you can add whatever you want. I'm just going to set up a simple scene to show you. I'm going to go to this front view, hit 5 for the orthographic, hit Shift A, add mesh plane, drag the plane to the bottom of the cube or the sphere, and I'm just creating a ground for this sphere, and I'm going to hit smooth. I'm going to hit 0 on the numpad, get in the camera. If I right click on this square, I select the camera, hit G, middle mouse button, I can zoom or move the camera closer, not really zooming. If I hit G, I can move it side by side. If I hit R once, I can rotate it this way, but that's not what I want, so I hit R twice, and I can kind of pan up. If I hit G, I can move it back down. I'm going to zoom out using G, middle mouse button. I'm going to R twice. Just get the scene however you want. If you're using something different, just set up your scene. I'm just showing you and you can go ahead and follow me. I'm going to right click on the floor. I'm going to go to the materials and add new. I'm going to change this to not glass, I meant glossy. And I don't want to be completely 100% glossy. I'm going to go back to the camera view, and I'm going to set this to rendered. You can do whatever you want. I have a GPU, so it kind of renders pretty quick. But if you have just the CPU, sometimes it may not be the fastest. So I'm going to increase that all the way to the white. I can see the reflection pretty well. I'm going to right click on this sphere now, and I'm going to hit new. I'm going to put an emission. And this works with any kind of shader though, I think, so it should work with all of them. I'm going to put a slight blue tint. I'm going to go to settings, and this is important for you to do this glow. You need to put the pass index to 1. And as many objects that are going to have a different type of glow, you're going to want to change this to a different number. And they will always have it in the material editor. Now we can go ahead and get into the compositor. Actually, wait, there's one more thing before you do that. Go into the scene tab or the render layer tab, and go to passes. You need to check material index. Now we should be able to. That just allows the scene to be changed in the compositor, the materials. So now let's go to the compositor. First of all, hit F12 to render your first frame. Hit use nodes, backdrop, and we now have this simple setup. I'm going to hit Shift A, add. I'm just going to search for a viewer. If you don't want to search, you can just hit Shift A and go to output and viewer. But I find that I like to search for everything just because I can type it faster. I just hit Shift A, or not Shift A, I hit Shift and drag down, and it'll create this little dot, and that dot allows you to connect things. And it's really useful if you have two things that you want, like the composite and the viewer, to both have the same connection. But for those things now, I'm going to move them almost out of the way. They're going to be for the end product. I'm going to show you a quick setup for how to use the compositor a little bit. So I'm going to hit Shift A, add, and I'm going to do an ID mask. And what this does is it allows, if we go back in here and we go into settings, this pass index, if we connect the index material, which we checked in the passes right here, material index, if we connect that to the ID value and change this index number to 1, or the same number that we put in here, we now can use this. I'm going to hit Shift A, and I'm going to start with a blur. And you're going to say, oh, it's just another one. There's some more things we add later on. But the blur is still essential in getting the full product that we want out of this. And I'm going to add another viewer, so I'm just going to right click on this one, hit Shift D, and add another one. And I'm going to show you what we've got. So we haven't actually blurred anything yet, but we have a mask that is created around the material. And we're going to create a fast Gaussian blur. I'm going to put relative and change this to 10 by 10. And that creates a 10% blur in both the X and the Y direction. And sometimes it has a little bit of correction you can do. I'm going to put the Y. It just makes it a little bit more round. Whereas none, it's almost oval shaped. So I'm going to put Y. And I'm going to add a glare node. So I'm just going to type in glare. And I'm going to put the alpha to the image. And I'm going to leave streaks. Put this to, I'll leave it on medium to show you what it does. And then I'm going to change it to low because I actually like it a little better. That and it renders faster. So I'm going to change the iterations to 5. And so that you can see what's going on, I'm going to create an add node, which would be a mix node actually, and you change it to an add node. I'm going to connect the blur and the glare nodes together, and I'm going to duplicate the viewer again, and we can now see what the product's looking at now. Let's see, I want, if we change these iterations, you won't be able to see much yet. But the big thing you want to change right here is to quickly, so you can see what's going on. I'm going to change the mix to 1, which makes it completely blended. So right here we have complete white or non-alpha, because that's what this is, a mask, and masks deal in black and white. And we'll add color later, but masks deal with black and white. That's something you gotta realize when you're doing this. And so the middle is going to be almost completely white, whereas it just kind of slowly gets to black. That's what that does. Threshold, I'm going to decrease this. And if you hover over them, they kind of explain a little bit what they do. So it's just going to only apply it to brighter than the certain color. So I'm going to put probably like 0.7, somewhere in there, and I'm going to put streaks to 8. And you can't really see the streaks in it right now. I wonder if I just connect this to the viewer, if you can see the streaks. Oh yeah, you can see the streaks now a little bit. So I put this back at 4. You can see that there's streaks going down and left. That's because there's a streak here, and streak there, and streak there. That's 4. So if I increase that to 8, I'm going to have streak. I'm going to have 8 streaks going in different directions. Okay, so that's what that does. And this color modulation, I'm going to move up a little bit. That increases a little bit of color, and you can kind of see a little bit difference. Instead of black and white, it's now turning to a purplish bluish hue, and I want that to be probably 0.7, I'm guessing. Yeah, so I can get a darker color out of that. I'm just going to rotate it so it's not so perfectly up and down, and I'm going to put it at 10. Yeah, so now I'm going to move this viewer back up to the add node so I can see what's going on there. And I'm going to change, because I want it really doesn't do much, but I want this to be a little bit brighter here in the middle, because glows have a brighter value to them, so that's why I'm doing that. And then I'm going to put in, move back down here, so I'm going to zoom out so you can see kind of what we've got going on. You can kind of mimic this pattern, or you can go for whatever pattern you want. So I'm going to hit Shift D for another viewer. And you're probably asking, why do I have so many viewers? If I put a viewer here, it's a lot faster than having to reconnect and disconnect. I can just click and go to a different viewer to see what different, like if I want to start here, did I mess up here, here, I can see where I messed up faster, or where I can improve the look I'm wanting. So I'm going to hit Shift A. I'm going to search for, actually I don't have to, I'm just going to right click on this glare and hit Shift D. And I'm going to connect the alpha from the ID mask into the glare image. And instead of streaks, we're going to go for ghosts and leave that at medium. Oh, and I never actually put this to low. And the reason why I want to put it low is it de-improves or deproves the quality of that glare. And the reason why I want that to be lower quality is I can see more of the glare. If I were to improve, if I would put this glare on the high setting, it would look almost just like this circle. And yeah, so it's a very too perfect, and I like the imperfect look. It makes it look a little more realistic, actually. So I'm gonna, now that I duplicated this glare and put it to ghosts, I'm gonna connect the image to the viewer, so I can see what this even does, what the ghosts do. I'm gonna put the iterations to 4, and that makes it so it's not as bright. Color modulation, I'm going to set a little bit lower. I want this to normally be kind of a black and white, but not 100% just black and white. I want a little bit of color. Mix, I'm going to leave it at 1, because if I put it, I don't want that. That's definitely not what I want. So I want 100% mix. And the threshold, I might put it at 0.8. I want it to be kind of darker. The lower I get, the brighter it is. But I don't want it to be too dark. I think that's what I'm looking for. So now I'm going to move this viewer up here. I'm going to hit Shift A. Actually, just click on this add and hit Shift D and duplicate it. I'm going to drag the image into the top, and the image from the glare into the bottom, and then the image output of the ad into the viewer. Now from this ad, I want to decrease this factor to probably 2. And if you want, you can only actually drag up to 1. You have to type in anything of a higher value than 1. And that just pretty much magnifies. And usually when you have to type in a higher value than 1, you're going to get more of an overexposed look, which is what a glow is. So that's what we're looking for. Let's go. I think what we're going to do is hit Shift A, and we're going to put in a new node that we haven't seen. I'm going to do alpha over. And because we have a black and a white with a little bit of color, this will work pretty well. We can plug in the add node into the bottom. And the reason why is because this is the black and white values. We want the color to come mainly from the render layers. And that will come from the background. And there won't really be much of a difference. I'm going to hit convert pre-multiply, and that just affects a little bit of this black. It's kind of hard for the computer. Sometimes it doesn't work the best. You can check those two. I'm going to leave it convert pre-multiply because that will work. And then I'm going to add another viewer, and we're not seeing anything over here because we don't have a viewer. We're only seeing up to this point. So I'm going to Shift D, add another viewer, put the alpha over, click on this viewer. Still not much of a difference. We can check off the convert pre-multiply. If it doesn't work, make sure you just check that because sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So now what I'm going to do is there's some settings that we need to change in here. I'm just going to kind of drag some stuff over so we have a little bit more room in here. This isn't quite, this is the basic shape that we want and the blend and everything, but definitely not the colors. So I'm going to hit Shift A, and we're going to add another new node, and it's going to be called a color ramp. And it's that one right there. And I'm going to put it, let's see, I think I want to put it right after this first add. So put it in between the two adds. And it is going to be just a black and white. And if you change it, it pretty much affects a little bit of the outer glow and the inner glow. But it really helps to have the black and white in there. And then I'm also going to duplicate that and put it on this one also. And we don't want this to be black and white. We want this one to remain black, but we want this one to come in here. I'm going to click this and make sure you're in the material of the original one. You can just click here and get that color. So now this puts the cast of the color that of the original material. This color from our original material is going to be cast onto the rest of the scene. And now I'm going to move over the alpha over and the viewer, and I'm going to duplicate this color ramp once again and put it in between the alpha over and the add. And I want this to be a little bit different. I want to delete this black node. And I know it kind of ruins the scene, but that's okay because this is going to be edited. So I want to leave this, but I want to add another one now. But we got the same color. That was the big thing. We could have just clicked on the black and done the same thing, got this color from here. But it wasn't too hard. And I'm gonna just decrease the alpha channel. And now we have the scene in the background. Let's see, what else do we need to do in here? So we have the scene in the background. Sometimes, if it doesn't work out 100% of the time, you can change some values. A lot of the color ramps actually change a lot. Sometimes if you want a little bit more of a rough fill, you can decrease that. But you're going to get less of the blend. You can decrease that and get less outer glow, which sometimes is a good thing. Maybe sometimes you don't want it all the way out to the edges. That actually looks pretty nice right there, and I just decreased it. That's at position 0.023, so I might leave that there. The last final thing that you need to do is, because we're getting a pretty good solid render right here, we need to move this composite and this viewer. I'm going to delete this viewer. The original one that we linked together with those. I'm going to make sure I don't have anything selected by hitting A. So I select everything and I deselect it. I'm going to hit B and select this little dot. You want to make sure you get the dot. And these two. And I'm going to move it all the way down here. Now I'm going to also connect this image into that dot. It's going to get rid of that line. But now this viewer and the composite is connected to the alpha over. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much this tutorial. And then if you want to get a little bit more of this blend, because that doesn't look right now, just increase your sampling. You can go for, I don't know, 100 is what I'll do for now. And go ahead and render it. It'll do a quick render here. And it'll put the composite in. And we're getting a pretty good glow on this. You don't really see the glow on this, but that's because it's a reflection and you won't see the glow, even in real life. So, I think that's the end of the tutorial. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you can get a little bit more, a little bit more of a glow. And something you could do, maybe the big difference is in this tutorial, is this color and this color are the same. Maybe when we checked, maybe when you come back over here, instead of getting the exact same color, so go ahead and get the color from the material over here. But then the next step, maybe brighten it. Yeah, that brightened look makes it, because a glow is brighter. Yeah, so I think that brighter look, you could even change it to a lighter white. Maybe not completely that color. Maybe a little bit of an off color. And then you could probably even change this in here too. Yeah, that looks a little bit nicer, I think. Maybe a little bit too much. I'm gonna probably go back to that color and mess with it again. In fact, I might just mess with these values right here. Yeah, how about that? That's looking pretty nice. It looks a little bit more like a glow, whereas the last one just looked like it had a little bit of glow on the outside, but the inside looked like the original. So thanks for watching. Hopefully that cleared up a little bit, and hopefully you can add some glows to your renders that aren't just a blur to your stuff. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.